now to a few of your questions. Since Pacu now eat a whole seed, does this ruin seed duplication? Let's produce a little bit of table salt and store it inside of this one here. Rich Philly Bob to the rescue, grabbing the table salt and putting it inside the storage bin. Now please go away, Osareas guy. We have the table salt inside, 5 gram of it. Resetting this to 1 kilogram, allow the seeds. Then we grab this seed here. The auto sweeper is grabbing the seed, putting it in the storage bin, and we already split the seed. We do have a buddy bud here that is 5 grams and one with 995 grams here to the right. If we place this seed now here in this side or just plant it directly, we can use the fraction of a seed to make a new flower. Same here to the left. Please don't put it in. So we just used one seed to make 2 plants. Still works. No issue. And that is because it has absolutely nothing to do with Pacu in the first place. They ruined infinite Pacu ranches. Well, yes, probably. At least they ruined the 1 tile infinite Pacu ranch because Pacus now count as confined, even when in a door. But if you use a setup like this with 8 tiles, this Pacu here is not confined, just idle. This is a baby Pacu that is about to reach adulthood. It ate once in its lifetime when it was still a tiny baby, so we do have around 450 kilocalories inside of the Pacu. Let's see what happens when it reaches age 5. The Pacu finally grew up and got an instant mood change to glum. We do have a reproduction rate, here it is, of 7% per cycle, meaning we would need 14.2 cycles for this Pacu to lay another egg. Each cycle we use up 20 kilocalories and we do have 450 kilocalories, meaning we do have 22.5 cycles worth of food inside of this Pacu. Technically, this Pacu can lay an egg in their lifetime. The only issue is if the Pacu reaches the starvation debuff. Before being able to lay an egg, we will get -10 from the debuff, giving us a reproduction rate of 0, stopping the Pacu from being able to reproduce. Also remember that this Pacu already ate when it was a child. We can compare that with a freshly born Pacu. This year will incubate very soon. There it is. And has 450 kilocalories with a change per cycle of -10, giving us a total of 400 to work with. 400 divided by 20 as we've read before, giving us only 20 cycles, but since we only need 14.2 once it's grown up to reproduce, it still should lay an egg in the lifetime, considering we do not ever get the starvation debuff. Which should also mean that if we add a few more of tropical Pacus so I can differentiate them better, our Pacu should be at glum still, yes. Happiness -7, we can go even one lower, -8, maybe -9, there we go. Pacu is still glum. This wouldn't change anything regarding what we already talked about, meaning this Pacu should reproduce with what we know now. So your starvation ranges do still work. Can they work with infinite Pacus? No, they do not. They only work with 9 Pacus per 8 tiles of liquid, meaning you could add a few more of those right next to each other. That should still work. Only issue is you instantly need to get out the eggs. And you need to redistribute the eggs as well. Here we are back again at our Pacu, testing the reproduction rate, which will reach 100% now. There it is, at the age of 20. And there's the egg, meaning a Pacu, even though if not fed and being tame, even in a room with 8 other Pacu, managed to reproduce in its lifetime before reaching the starvation debuff, which would stop the reproduction rate completely. Meaning you can still have starvation ranges for your Pacu. Well, the limit is just 9 fish per 8 tiles of liquid. The question is, do we need the door for that? First, let's get out of the egg. It influences the happiness state of the Pacu. We are at glum. We remove the door, replace it with a little bit of drywall, check out the Pacu again, and the mood is still glum. What a door does though is, it prevents the Pacu from, as you can see, swimming around all over the place, but that can probably be achieved with just a single door though. Not sure how we can use and abuse the door system though. Shinebug reactors also still work. Those are tiles. Here are liquid tiles to the right and to the left, and inside we do have a whole bunch of Shinebugs. Let's check this out. we have 33 Shinebugs inside, 9 Shinim and 2 Sunbugs. Even though the Shinebugs are tame, giving us a -1 happiness debuff, meaning we are at mood glum, the Shinebugs still manage to reproduce in their lifetime. They do have enough calories saved up, they only use up -8 per cycle because of the metabolism debuff that they get from the glum mood. A Shinebug at age 5 has around 260 calories left. 260 divided by 8 gives us 32 cycles of food. We do have a reproduction rate of 7% per cycle, meaning we only need 14.2 cycles for the reproduction for a already tame Shinebug to reproduce and lay an egg and replace itself. So depending on how many Shinebugs you have at the moment, you can run your solar panels with them. But just remember to leave the rooms open. If I would, for example, close this off right here or even down here, because this is all one giant room, as you can see, the Shinebugs are now counted as crowded and the mood is miserable, turning off their light and stopping the reproduction completely. These Shinebugs here, for example, are at age 17 and have already reached 80% reproduction and still have 170 kilocalories left. This one is age 19, reproduction 88%, 92 at age 19, 95 at age 20 and already laid an egg at age 21. We're with 140 kilocalories left and not in the starving debuff yet. And this should prove that Shinebugs still can be starvation ranched even when tame and even with the new 2 moods that I added. For most of the other critter though, it is a little bit more complicated. I loaded in my shovel ranches, for example. Let's check this out. We do have a few shovels here on these tiles. This one is groomed, meaning +5 happiness, giving us the mood of happy, even though we got -1 from being tame, as long as they are not starving. So this one here has a reproduction rate of 17% per cycle, has around 22,000 kilocalories left, but is losing 4,800 kilocalories per cycle because of the normal metabolism. This here to the right is a starving shovel, giving us -10 because of the starving, but still +5 from being groomed, making this one glum, giving us -80% metabolism, which is kind of nice at this time because we do not need so many calories for this thing to eat, but giving us the reduced reproduction rate of 2% per cycle. So it is quite interesting how this would work in the long term. This one would still need 2.5 more cycles to reproduce. We do have enough calories for that, so let's see how this works. So if groomed but not fed, we can reach a reproduction of 100% critter laying an egg, being transported to the incubators with a non-fed but groomed shovel. So I don't really think that there is any change to the shovel ranching. Cramming a lot of wild shovels into a single tile is perfectly fine, because they can't really get confined or crammed. Because remember, they do live inside of the earth, even inside of a door it will not get confined. Sweetles starvation ranches, even for tamed Sweetles, should still be viable. I just added this grooming station. I'm not sure if this is completely necessary. We were already at a reproduction of 96%, still have a long time to live and still have just a tiny bit of calories left. But I guess that since we only have this much calorie left and use up 140 calories per cycle, we would stop the reproduction at 97 or 98% completely. So you have to at least groom them once in their lifetime for them to be able to starvation ranch, if I calculate that correctly, that is. Since the critter is now happy, the reproduction rate skyrocketed, but also the calorie consumption, meaning we do now get the debuff right now, -10, giving us a miserable mood if stuck in a door and only glum if in a big room, allowing us to complete the reproduction cycle and replace the Sweetle. I know that I didn't cover every single critter, but I think with what I showed you, you should be able to do the math yourself now. And what I also figured out is that you basically want your critters either to be glum or to be happy. Satisfied doesn't give us anything positive, so satisfied is a pretty useless critter state. And for miserable, you do not want your critter to be miserable, otherwise you don't have any reproduction at all. Except when you do have a critter that can't reproduce anyways. So most tame critter will not lay an egg in their lifetime if not fed, if not at least groomed once or twice. And for that you also need to do the math yourself. So like I said in the previous video, several starvation ranches still do work fine if you do groom your critter. Pacus though will probably need something like this. And now if you want to see a little firework, press the subscribe and the like button. YouTube added a little feature there.